welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to ask the question and get into why are Christians at war with every way that we use or have historically used to communicate with our true God? And the short answer is because they're at war with our true God. Christianity and all of the Christian governments that have taken over since 1492 promote and are in every single way the complete opposite of our original God. And first of all, your original God of the Old Testament is a woman. But the Christians took our original God away from us, starting with the story of Moses. And what's even worse is that they changed our God into a man. And they only give reference to her in the English Bible as trees or groves or idols or serpents. They reference her in a positive way, and they make sure to distinguish her from the God of Moses, because when they refer to her in the Bible, in many places they'll refer to her, when they refer to her as God, they'll refer to her as God Almighty. When they're able to not say God Almighty, then they'll refer to her as trees, groves. That's one of their favorites. Okay. They even refer to her as the Queen of Heaven, right? And you got to be pretty important to be the Queen of Heaven. We know what a king and a queen are. So if you're the Queen of Heaven, then you have to be pretty important in heaven. So that should just give you a clue right there, because you can find that verse about the Queen of Heaven in the book of Jeremiah, but they're trying to tell you to stop worshiping the Queen of Heaven in the book of Jeremiah. See, so why would you stop worshiping the queen when queens are like if there's no king, the queen is in charge. Okay. And when we know that the God that created everything is a woman, and at one point it was just her, right? That's where they get that holy virgin from. Then the queen is the top dog in the entire heaven, the universe. They refer to the universe as heaven, the heavens up there, right? Everything that's up in the sky is the heavens, right? So she's the queen of that. So why would you stop worshiping the queen of heaven, the top position in heaven, right? Well, what would you do that for? But this is when the God of Moses freed, and the reason it started changing in the Exodus is because this is when the God of Moses freed his chosen people and said to go in and kill all of these various other groups of people, men, women, babies, and animals included. And the reason for this is because they were worshiping another God, which is the original God that they have always worshiped. All of the ancestors worshiped this woman God. And why are they at war with the true God? Well, this is explained in the book of Enoch. So we're going to briefly go over this book of Enoch so we can see the two sides that are at war with each other and really start to understand both of them. But we also have to understand these two sides a little better in order to understand what's really going on. See, because this war is against nature and the natural order of things. The people who are at war with you hate nature, and they hate the natural order of things. They're constantly trying to change the natural order of things and replace everything that is natural with something that is synthetic or man-made. Everything they do is the opposite of nature. And all we have to do in order to see this is look at what's promoted in our society today and look at the things that they tell us are bad, and you can see just those things, the two sides that are fighting. And I'm talking about from sex to parties to dancing to the clothes we wear to our bodies to our thoughts to our emotions to crystals to astrology to hair to smoking to plants to trees to alcohol to magic to cards to dice to our auras to our food to our medicine. They're not okay with any of these things, to the point that they even make perverted versions of all of these things and replace the real things and push us to use their perversions instead of the things that our true God made for us. And our true God made for us to communicate with her and enjoy our lives and live in abundance. This is supposed to be a place of abundance, and it has everything there to be a place of abundance. But they don't want us living in abundance. They're not okay with any of these things. And we'll just go down the list to see why they hate all of these things and how they pervert all of these natural things, or get us to stop doing them entirely, or at least try to get us to stop doing them entirely, because some of us are just going to do what we're going to do. So we'll start from the bottom of the list and go to the top, and we're probably going to have to take a break midway because we're going to really dig in deep into each one of these things, and so it's probably going to take 2 videos to really get through all of it. Okay, so we'll start at the bottom of the list and go to the top. One thing the people who are at war with us and our original God, the one thing that they truly hate is our natural medicine. And we'll talk about this along with our food, because these two things just really go together. See, there's a natural cure for everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. There's a natural cure for whatever you want to name. There's a cure for it. But the Christians who are at war with you, who control this economy, can't make an economy off of your health and well-being. They can't control you so easily when you're active and healthy. And this is part of the problem. And why do I say the Christians who control our economy? Because every single corporation, and notice how the word corpse is embedded into the word corporation. Every single corporation in America is owned by the church. Not some corporations, but every corporation. Whenever you open up a corporation, you are donating that company to the church, because it doesn't have to be a corporation. You have to elect to make it a corporation. You got to file certain paperwork to make it a corporation. And you do this when you become a Christian. And most of us just don't know this, because Christians have to give everything they own to the church. That's just Christian law. So when I say corporations are owned by the church, every single corporation in America is owned by the church. And this isn't maybe. The entire New York Stock Exchange is owned by the Christian church, by law, according to the definition of the word corporation itself. And we'll just go over the definition. All right. So in America, we have 2 different kinds of corporations, ecclesiastical and lay. In the English law, all corporations, private, are divided into ecclesiastical and lay. The former being such corporations as are composed exclusively of ecclesiastics, organized for spiritual purposes or for administering property held for religious use, such as bishops or certain other dignitaries of the church. And abbeys and monasteries, 1BL Com 470. That makes sense. Lay corporations are those composed of laymen and existing for secular or business purposes. Now here's where it gets interesting. This distinction is not recognized in American law. Okay, let's read that part again, because they distinguish it against lay corporations, which that made sense, and ecclesiastic corporations, and that made sense. But what did they just say? They said this distinction is not recognized in American law. Corporations formed for the purpose of maintaining or propagating religion or of supporting public religious services according to the rites of particular denominations and incidentally owning and administrating real and personal property for religious uses are called religious corporations, as distinguished from business corporations, but they are lay corporations and not ecclesiastical in the sense of English law. Okay? See? So it's different when we're talking about English law. See? But American law, there's no difference. Okay? Eleemosynary and civil. Lay corporations are classified as eleemosynary and civil, the former being such as are created for the distinction of alms or for the administration of charities or for purposes falling under the description of charitable in its widest sense, including hospitals, asylums, and colleges, the latter being organized for the facilitating of business transactions and the profit or advantage of the members. And what did that last part say again? Hospitals, asylums, and colleges, the latter organized for the facilitating of business transactions and for the profit or advantage of the members. But we think these hospitals are for our benefit. But no, they are organized for the facilitating of business transactions and for the profit or advantage of the members. And 99.9% of you are not members. And who are the members? The members of the corporate body. A member, your hand is a member. Your arm is a member of your body. The corporate body. Okay? And who is the corporate body? The church. They can't make profitable business transactions with their hospitals if you are taking natural medicine. And why not? Because they can't put a patent on a plant. So what do they do instead? They pervert the plant. They take the nutrition out of the plant that is made to fix one thing and then combine it with these completely unnatural things and chemicals and man-made substances so that they can put a patent on these things. Then they go on to sell these to the insurance companies, which are also corporations that they've scared you into making rich, because since something might happen to you, they need to save your money for you instead of you saving it for yourself, because you can't save your money yourself. And they know that only a handful of people are going to experience these things that they make us so afraid are going to happen to us. So they collect the money from everybody, but they only got to pay out a little bit. And they got college degrees to do these tables and insurance tables to figure out exactly how much and exactly how many people are going to get sick and exactly how many people are going to get in car accidents and exactly how many people are going to have business claims, etc., etc. They know exactly how many. They can do the statistics on this and figure it out. And once they figure it out, they're like, okay, well, it's only going to happen to 5% of the people. We collected from 100%. We only got to pay out 5%. And everything, they done made laws to where you got to have insurance. So as a result, when it comes to medical insurance, because it works like this with all insurance, but we'll stick with medical because that's what we're talking about right now. As a result, the doctors are able, for example, to charge over $8,000 to the insurance company for cataract surgery when it only costs them $20 to perform. And how do we know that it only costs $20 to perform? Because that's how much they charge in other countries where they don't have insurance. It's the same thing with insulin. For years, they were charging $1,000 for a vial of insulin and another $600 for a pack of pens to go along with it. Now they just capped it at $35 because it only cost them $5 to make in the first place. And who's getting all this extra money? The church. That's who's in charge of the facilitating of business transactions and the profit or advantage of the members, not you. That's who's getting it. The people who are at war with you and who are at war with your original God. The same people who own all these grocery stores and food corporations that purposely make the food to give you diabetes in the first place so that you have to go buy their insulin. We don't even need grocery stores. They won't plant no fruit trees. They won't even let us plant fruit trees. They'll make it against the law. They done made a law that says it's against the law to collect rainwater. That's what they do. See, they could make natural food cheap as they want to make it. And they could incentivize the farmers to grow the food that the earth produces naturally. But if they did this, how could they make all this money off of all these drugs they sell? And how could they pay their doctors who are in on it with them, who you look up to as being oh so great and oh so smart, the best people on earth? How could they pay them? They actually pay doctors to cut you out of your mother's stomach when you're born. The hospitals can charge $10,000 more to the insurance company, and the doctor gets paid extra when they do a C-section than they can when they do a natural birth. So we talking about an extra 10 grand for every single time that a baby is born when they cut you out of your mother's womb than when you just have your natural childbirth, which the process of the child's birth going through the womb adds certain chemicals to your system that they don't want to have happen. And it's an experience within itself, but really that's a whole nother topic within itself. But they don't want you coming out of your mother's womb because they hate the womb. They hate the process of birth. They want to make test tube babies. They don't even want y'all having sex. We're not there yet. But this is the difference between the Egyptian Ankh and the Christian cross. The top of the Egyptian Ankh is a big circle which represents the womb. It also symbolizes eternity because our original God is the God that when you think about God is who you really think about. The eternal, omnipotent, who's in all of us at the same time. That guy. The Egyptians who were enslaving the same people who became the Christians before Moses freed them, they don't worship the womb, which is the woman god. They don't worship the god of the Egyptians who are the Canaanites. That they switched to the line of Ham so you don't believe that it got nothing to do with you. They literally worship the dingaling or the phallus. This is what they worship because they hate the woman in every single way. They say we come from a man, and they really have men running around believing that we come from a man when not one woman, when not one man that they've ever seen comes from a man. Not one. I've never gone to the hospital and seen a man in labor. Never. Not once. But they got us believing the woman come from a man. See, the reason why they believe that is because, see, the creation did come from a man, but we all are not created people, and this is what we have to know. So since they're at war, the creation got set free and went to war with their creators. And the God of the gods X is a woman. She's all of our mother, all of the God's mother. They pervert our food to make us sick and then pervert all of our natural medicines so that we can never get healed. They don't want us getting healed. Every single one of their drugs fixes one thing and breaks something else. They got all these drugs on TV where everybody dancing and having a great time and living their best life if only you take their drug. And while they living their best life on the commercial, then they say in little small print and say real fast, we don't even pay attention to it no more because we done heard it so much. I remember when these commercials were illegal. Okay. They were actually, it was illegal to have a drug commercial on TV. Okay. Right. But they want to have all these drug commercials on TV that tell you, in some of these commercials, they just tell you, this will cause you to die. This drug causes death. They say it in the commercial. But then they want to turn around and give Tyrone the death penalty for selling the same drugs they sell. Because they don't want him making no money off of their economy. Why? Because it said in the definition, it's for their benefit, not his. And they willing to kill you over that. Okay? Now let's move on to the next thing that they at war with, which is our auras. See? Because they know we all have auras. And that our auras are what connect the original people to each other. And they also connect us to our original God in a different way. So with the help of their doctors and scientists, they decided to actually manufacture a new disease, start spreading it. And in the name of not catching the disease, now we got to start social distance, which means you got to stay 6 feet away from each other. And it just so happens that this is also the same length of the average aura that surrounds each and every one of our bodies. But they do this to disconnect people purposely because they don't want us connecting with each other at all in any way. They know we're social creatures by nature. And since our auras help connect and solidify that natural social behavior we have about ourselves, they tell us, no, we got to social distance. But this is just another example of how they disconnect us from each other. Because, see, our auras can be related to our vibe. Okay, or our vibration. That's where that comes from. When we're around a negative person, we can feel that vibe. We can feel that negative vibration. When we're around a positive person, we can feel that too. When a positive person's aura enters the field of electricity that is the aura of a negative person, it can amplify or change that person's negative state for the better. It can raise his aura. So once they put us in this state of negativity, the easiest way to keep us in that state of negativity is to make sure that nobody who's radiating this positive energy is able to get close enough to that positive person so that they can uplift that negative person's state of being. This is one of the reasons that they want to disconnect us, because they need us being stuck in this lower vibration. Okay. They need us stuck down there. They don't want nobody lifting nobody up out of their negative thinking, their negative reactions. Right? They want us, they got us social distancing ourselves. That's how they do it. They get us just to police ourselves in every single way. There's not enough of them to do it, so they just get us to do it to ourselves. But the next thing that Christians hate is gambling. See, they don't like the idea of somebody getting rich quick. They hate that. And this is because the root reason is because they don't believe in the goddess, which is our true God of abundance. She's literally called the goddess of abundance, fertility. This is what she's called. Okay. But they don't believe in that. They hate abundance in general. They worship the God of scarcity. They worship the God of hard work in their own words. And this is according to the Bible.org. The 20th Century Fund Research Group commented, gambling's get-rich-quick appeal appears to mock capitalism's core values: disciplined hard work habits, thrift, prudence, adherence to routine, and the relationship between effort and reward. Okay? See, these core values of work ethic are all part of the free enterprise system and are all part of Christian life. Gambling corrupts these values and it replaces them with greed and selfishness rather than depending on hard work. Gamblers depend on luck and chance. This is what they say. See, they don't want you getting rich quick for any reason because then you don't need them anymore. See? So that's why they control the casinos and went down and bought all the casinos in Vegas. They know you still got that natural need to want to do it. So they just go in, control it all, make it in one place, the same place where you can freely live whatever you want, whatever lifestyle you want. They tried to take all the things that make Vegas Vegas out of it and make it into some Christian family park, but they start losing money at that. So they start changing it back, right? But this is what they tried to do. They tried to make it into Disneyland, right? But they do this because gambling goes completely against capitalism. And they know they can't take it all the way away from you. Just like when they tried to take alcohol away from you and everybody acted a fool over it. See, they know they can't take everything all the way away from you. And that's why they're making the weed legal right now. Because, see, they know that they can't take it away from you all the way. So they're like, okay, we just got to figure out a way we can start making all the money off of it. And if as long as we can make all the money off of it, then it's okay. That's how they work. Because they really don't care about your health. All it has to do with is them staying in control and them controlling everything and them mocking your true God as often as possible. That's all it has to do with. I don't want you living your nature. Gambling goes completely against capitalism. And who owns all the corporations? The church. They want you to be disciplined and prudent, which means a hard worker. They need you to be their worker. And why do they want you to be such a hard worker? Because the creation was made to work. That was the only purpose of the creation getting made in the first place. But we not all the creation. And that's the part they don't want to tell you. And the creation got made to do the work of the gods, who are the Agigi. The gods that the Agigi, the black-headed ones, according to the Sumerian texts, the work that they no longer wanted to do. So the creation, whose religion is Christianity, was given this religion to make it so they would not quit their jobs like the Agigi did. They were created to work. But now they want to make the people who created them in the first place to do the work, they want to make them like them. And they want them to do the work. That's not our nature. It's not our nature. It's their nature to work. It's easy for them. This is their nature. Again, we did not make them to take us over, even though that's what's happened as a result of this war that's being waged against us by the one who created them and helped them take over. They don't know they worship us in secret. They don't even know that. The one who made them is one of us. They don't know that. The masses don't know that. They were made to be the workers, not us. They instinctively love to work. They love to work because they was created for that purpose. It's their nature. But they want to convince the gods, with the help of their creator, who is at war with the creator of the gods, that you should be like your creation now. But you aren't workers. You're the creators. You're the creators who created the creation. And this is why they're spreading all of this equality talk around now. And we're going for it because we just wanted to be treated equally. But they done switched it up and teach us, nah, we all equal now. But we not all equal. If we was, why we all got different fingerprints? Because there's never going to be one of me ever again. There never has been one of me anytime before. And there never will be another one of me. And that don't just apply to me. That applies to me. That applies to every single person watching. That applies to every person not watching. No snowflake is the same. Period. They make our true nature, which is being the creators and not wanting to do the work, a bad thing. And since they've taken over with the help of their leader, who's one of us, we've started to accept their way of thinking. But this has to do with us losing our identity. We no longer know that we created them, and we don't know for what purpose we created them for. So we just want to live a comfortable life and the abundant life like everybody else. Because it's our nature to do that. And we like, okay, well, what rules do we got to play by to do that? Because that's what we willing to do. And we willing to play by whatever rules because we just have forgotten who we are, our history, and how all this went down and how we got in this situation to begin with. They say the core values that all have to do with work are the backbone of the free enterprise system, which is the Christian system. And notice the word free in there. See? Because this free enterprise system has been created by the people who got their freedom from us. And this system they created is what keeps them in control. When we live the opposite to our nature, they win. When we live in our true nature as the gods that we are, we win. They don't want us living like the gods that we are. Because if we do, we're going to win. They don't want us winning. Our creation is in competition with us to take us over. And they've been able to do that with our help, which is what we don't know. They want us all being prudent prudes. And what is a prude? One who is excessively concerned with being or appearing to be proper, modest, or righteous. A woman of affected modesty, reserve, or coyness. One who is over scrupulous or sensitive. One who affects extraordinary prudence in conduct and speech. A person who is or tries to be excessively proper, especially one who is easily offended by matters of a sexual nature. This is what a prude is, by definition. But see, the guides, we aren't prudes by nature. But being prudent prudes is necessary for them to keep this system up that they've created to dominate their creators. Okay? So they done figured it out. They done figured us out and made us forget who we are. So they trying to make us be Quakers and prudes, and they trying to change who we are. Get us to live outside of our nature. Fly like an eagle when we lions. Let's throw some wings on the lions and watch them fly. He'll never fly like us eagles, but he want to fly so bad. No, he should be happy with who he is on the earth. He's the king of the jungle, not the king of the sky. Now the next thing that the Christians despise is magic. But for some reason, they don't despise magic when they're doing the magic. They claim their magic, even though it accomplishes the same things, their magic comes from God. And anybody else's magic comes from the devil or some demons. But their magic comes from the God of the Bible and Jesus. And who are the devil and the demons according to the Christians? The gods that they are at war with, who tried to destroy them during the flood, and who enslaved them in Egypt after they got saved from the flood. Because they don't have no problem with Moses turning his staff into a snake. They only have a problem when the Egyptians know how to do this same trick as well. So their magic is superior to them. But the other part is that, they fear our magic. They don't want us performing magic on them. And they don't want us performing magic on ourselves. They fear our magic because they know we the gods. And they don't want the gods doing no magic. They don't want us creating abundance for ourselves through magic. For the same reason, they don't want us gambling, because it's bad for their work economy. And they definitely don't want us communicating with our true God that they call the devil. But this is the God who created their God and all of the other gods that are mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, which they translate into one God. They made black people into just black people. They from all these different places. Right? They ain't do the Asians like that. They didn't say that the Asians are just all yellow people. The Chinese, Japanese, Koreans, it's all yellow people. They didn't do them like that, right? They just did us like that. White people, they're not just white people. They're French and Scottish and Swedish. And I'm 45% German and 32.7% Dutch. That's how they do, right? With us, they love to lump everybody into one. This is one of their tactics. And you can start seeing their tactics and start seeing through everything they do. Because they use the same tactics on everything. They said, we're just going to lump everybody into one. There's just one God. There's just one group of people. They're all black people. There's just one group of people. They're all Negroes. This is what they do. They don't want you knowing that there's all kind of gods, like the Hebrew Bible says. They took another language Bible and then translated it and say, and the other language got all these different gods in it. They're like, nope. We're cutting out all them extra gods. It's just one God. This is what they did. And we got people just going crazy, fighting over how, there's just one God. Well, your Bible says there's more. That's not what your Bible says. And you should translate it for yourself and find out. Now, they don't want us communicating with our true God because they call our true God the devil. This is our God. But the creation, with the help of their God, because he was to be punished for sleeping with and making children with his creation, is at war with the goddess who handed down his punishment. So he put them in charge of us, the gods, slowly but surely, starting with Moses. And now they don't want us to access any of our goddess's power or our own inherent power, because our goddess lives within us. So they make it a religious crime. And if you notice, they always want to control the communication. They do this with the media. They do it with the internet. They don't want nothing but their ideas to be spread. But what they don't want us doing for any reason is communicating with our true God. And one of the ways we communicate with our true God, which ain't nobody can believe this, is through alcohol. That's why it's called spirits. They're not going to tell you that. When you go to the liquor store, many times you'll see right on the sign, it says wine and spirits. See, even though Jesus partied in the Bible, Jesus is partying, got drunk, drank wine. They don't want us doing this for any reason. Even though Ecclesiastes 9 verse 7 instructs, drink your wine with a merry heart. See, they don't want to hear that, right? See, because they don't believe their own Bible. And Psalms 104:14-15 states, God gives wine, quote, that makes glad the heart of men, end quote. And Amos 9:14 discusses drinking wine from your own vineyard as a sign of God's blessing. And Isaiah 55:1 encourages drinking by saying, yes, come buy wine and milk. But for some reason, the Christians, that they don't want to hear none of that, because they hate wine. They hate liquor. They hate getting drunk. They hate spirits. They hate all of that, right? They ignore all this drink wine with a merry heart, because they want to make your heart anything but merry. Whenever you drink, they want to act like we shouldn't drink at all. And most of them, they won't touch a drink for this reason. But see, the real reason that the lay people don't know, The real reason for this is because these spirits that enter your body when you drink allow you to more easily communicate with your real God. See, they're not going to tell you that part. And they want to control all communication, including that of communicating with your true God. The last thing they want you to do is communicate with your true God. They don't want us praying to our true God. They don't want us using anything that brings us closer to our true God. They're trying to keep our true God in the dark about what's going on here. Okay? Because our true God made us to be a certain way to communicate with her. And so they just try to block all the channels of communication. And alcohol is one of them. And she made it a pleasant experience so we could enjoy doing it. But they want to criminalize it and make it so bad and evil and act like the Bible says you're not allowed to do it. The Bible says to do it with a merry heart. And it's a blessing. That's what the Bible says. But again, they don't want to hear what their own Bible say, because it ain't about what they Bible say. It's about them controlling you. That's all it's about. And them making money in their economy off of controlling you. And making sure we don't ever pray to our real God, because then we'll get our prayers answered. And they don't want you getting your prayers answered. And the best way to not get your prayers answered is to keep praying to the wrong God. See, they don't want us praying to our God or using anything to ever bring us closer to her. Then they'll tell you, it's okay to drink, but you can't get drunk, because even though Jesus got drunk, you can't get drunk. You can't do that. Right? You might fall. You might. I mean, they look for reasons. But this also goes back to living a truly free and abundant life that goes outside of work, which is their favorite thing to do. Because they want you. I remember when they used to actually close for holidays. They don't do that no more because they want you working. You could make the same amount of money 30 years ago with one person working that you make today with two people working, because they don't want y'all doing nothing but work. Women used to stay at home. They don't want none of that. They made her want to work. They made her hate being with her man so she would go to work. But this, like I said, this goes back to living a truly free and abundant life that goes outside of work, because we really don't have to work at all. How many animals live on this planet? And how many animals have jobs? How many animals get checks every week and go to the bank and spend money and go to the mall? See, animals don't do that. But we not animals. But we are animals. We eat animals just like animals eat animals. We're a part of the food chain too. We're just on top of the food chain. And they don't want you believing you animals, because if you start believing that you are an animal, like what you actually are, then you might start seeing how they train animals and how they manipulate you and how they train you using the same tricks that they use on animals to make them jump and sit and stay. See? When you know you an animal and you know how to train an animal, and you know you can be manipulated in the same way that an animal can be manipulated. See? The best way to teach that animal who can figure that out is to teach him he's not an animal at all. See? When that alcohol or that spirit that it's called spirits, when that enters your body, when you know who you should really be praying to, then you get connected to your real God, who is not the Christian God. And then all of a sudden your prayers get answered. The same reason they hate alcohol, which is made from plants, is the same reason they hate our medicine, which comes from plants. And it's the same reason they hate psychedelic plants and smoking. When the so-called white prisoners who were being released, when they started to live on the land here in America because they ain't had no money to go back, they would watch us smoke and start copying our behavior. But see, we smoked for a different reason than they did. When we smoked, we were worshiping our true goddess. See, that's what we were doing, but they didn't know that, right? They just smoked to smoke. It's said that when you breathe out smoke, that your prayers go up with the smoke. And we used to have smoking ceremonies. And we would all just smoke as we were going about our daily lives, saying our prayers. But they don't want you knowing that smoking is one of the ways that we used to pray to our God. And that's one of the reasons they took your identity away as the original people of America. They took it away from you and gave it to the so-called Red Indians so you would lose touch with your ancient traditions. Because all of the Red Indians say that God is a woman too, and they run around having smoking ceremonies the same way you used to. And they do everything that you used to do because they've preserved all of the ceremonies that you used to have. And now they say that it's theirs. See? And now they make all kind of laws against smoking and have these huge campaigns against it. You used to be able to smoke in airplanes in the 70s. See, this isn't like they've always done this. See, you used to be able to smoke in every building. You used to be able to go smoke inside your hotel room with no problems. You used to be able to go anywhere and used to be able to go in the mall and smoke and nobody cared, right? They just started all of this in the 70s and the early 80s. Then they started having all these huge campaigns against it. And then they started perverting it by putting all these chemicals in it so that they could make you sick, so they would have a reason to tell you, hey, you know, you're going to die if you smoke. Everybody's going to die if they smoke, right? But they don't got to add all these chemicals to it. They do that on purpose, right? It's rare you can find some natural tobacco, and then you got to roll your own cigarettes and everything else, but you can still do it. But what I'm saying is they don't make it convenient. And now they got us smoking up all these chemicals for the smokers who do. They get you addicted with all the chemicals they put in it. And then they say, hey, we'll get you to stop smoking. Just start smoking vapes. And this is how they weaponize our ways of communication to our true God. And they use our ways of communication against us by putting all kind of chemicals in what was your way to communicate with your true God, so they can stop you from communicating with your true God and kill you in the process while making an economy off of your destruction. See, they don't want you communicating with your true God in any way for any reason at all. They don't want you inhaling the smoke that we used to have ceremonies. Okay? See, they gave that to the Red Indians. They say, no, y'all never did this. Y'all slaves from Africa. Y'all didn't do none of that. Y'all ain't got no history. You ain't got no culture. You ain't got no language. You ain't got nothing but what we gave you. And we gave you Christianity, and Christianity says you can't do nothing. This is what they do to us. But we do have a history. We smoke because we would just walk around smoking and say our prayers, and our prayers would just be released and go up to our true God. See? They don't want us communicating with our true God. But that brings us to our hair, another form of communication that we've always used to communicate with our true God. Because they've been able to talk us out of what our hair really is, which is an antenna. And I know it's hard to believe for so many of you, but our hair is a literal antenna that clarifies our communication with our true God. Our true God made us a certain way to be able to communicate with her in a certain way easily. But see, the creation done took over and told us that it ain't nothing but hair. It's what you're supposed to, you're just supposed to get a nice hairstyle. It just makes you look good. No, it's an antenna. It's an antenna. And it clarifies our communication with our true God. Yeah, but God's everywhere, and my God can hear everything all the time. That's that God you invented in your head. That's that fake God that you just made up in the church. That's not how our God works. Our God made us a certain way to be able to communicate with our God. That's how it works for us. Okay? A piece of our God lives inside of us. But at the same time, that piece of God communicates with our God that lives outside of us by using the antenna, which we all have, which is our hair. There's a reason that nobody else's hair stands up straight and defies gravity. There's a reason for that. Other groups of people can rub their hair on balloons and things and cause static electricity to make their hair stand up straight as well. But what's the key word I just said? Static electricity. See, they need to use that electricity to do it. See, we don't need static electricity by rubbing our hair on a balloon to make it stand up straight. We don't need to create electricity to make our hair stand up straight. Why? Because it already has the electricity inherently in it to stand up straight. But they done made you ashamed of it. It's no different than an antenna on them old school cars or TVs. The signal is stronger wherever your hair is. And we have these places on our body where our hair grows naturally for very specific reasons. You can make your signal stronger by braiding your hair. That makes your signal stronger. It still works if it's not braided. You have less hair as you get older. One, because of the food you eat, and two, because you don't need that signal as much because you've gained so much wisdom over the years that you don't need the help of your God like you did when you was younger. What about people who they have conditions and and 99% of these conditions got to do with the food you eat, but you don't know that. And these chemicals you take in all the damn time and how they poison everything. That's half the reason. The places that your hair grows naturally communicates your state of being to your true God. But like I said, they don't want you communicating with your true God. They don't want none of that communication taking place. So they encourage you to cut it all off. When we sweat from our underarms, we are sweating out toxins. See, they want us wearing their little chemical deodorant all day, so we can't sweat any of those toxins out. They want us staying in the air conditioning all day, all night, so we never sweat. But your body needs to sweat. You need to be out in the sun. You need to sweat. That's the way your body removes toxins, is through sweat. But they got us hating the way we smell. And really, if you don't eat dead food, you won't smell bad without deodorant. But you got to be careful with the plants now, because now they figured out that you know about the plants, and now they attacking the plants. But they need those toxins to stay in your body so that you can get sick over time. They like the slow killers, so you can't put your finger on what's happening. And that way they can feed this medical industry economy that they've created. The Christians also have this ritual that they stopped doing openly starting in 1972, but they still do it, which is called tonsure. And after you get baptized, you're supposed to cut all your hair off. They always did this up until 1972, out in the open. The Old Testament says your hair is your strength. It says, don't cut your hair, Samson. Ezekiel 44:20. Also, they shall not shave their heads, yet they shall let their locks grow long. They shall only trim the hair of their heads. See, they say you should only trim the hair of your heads. Let your locks grow long. 2 Samuel 10:4. So Hannon took David's servants and shaved off half of their beards and cut off their garments in the middle as far as their hips and sent them away. Now, what would he do that for? Because cutting your hair in the Old Testament was a punishment. But the Christians want you to cut your hair in they tonsure ritual. Why? Because it is a punishment. This is their way of punishing you. But you don't know it's your punishment. You don't know it's their symbol that you've been punished by them and you've been converted into one of them. Among the Merovingians, whose rulers were called the long-haired kings, the ancient custom remained that an unsuccessful, what they call pretender, or a dethroned king would be tonsured Then he had to retire where? To a monastery. But sometimes this only lasted until his hair grew back. Sometimes. That's why they want you to continually stay in the barber shop, which is another place that they completely changed. But I'm not about to get into that. In the Byzantine Empire, which is the eastern half of the Christian church, the practice of tonsure coupled with castration was common for deposed emperors and their sons in Byzantium from around the 8th century, prior to which disfigurement, usually by blinding, was the normal practice. See? But we've been taught that we're the slaves. And we've always been the slaves. We the slave 400 years from Africa. Say favorite thing to say. And we've always been these slaves. When the truth is that we were the kings. But now they call the rightful kings the pretenders. And have us making movies about the place that we go to tonsure ourselves. The barber shop. They have us tonsuring ourselves. It's an open mockery to those who know what tonsure really is. And it's a way to muffle your communication with your true God. No different than tearing an antenna off the TV. You might still get a signal. You might not. And it's not just the men who they focused on. They really focused on the women. See, they encourage our women to cut their hair as well. They started making it cool for the women to just shave all this one side off. Then the other side off. Then all of it off. We'll just be bald. That's what they do. You watch half the people on TV, they ain't got no hair. There's a reason for that. This is a Christian ritual. And if you do have hair, it can't be yours. It can only be yours if you ain't one of us. See? They encourage our women to do this. And if she don't cut it, she got to cover it up with a completely different group of people's hair. Who does that? There's no other group of people who does this. But we don't even know where the hair that they put in these wigs comes from and why the people cut it off in the first place. But when we find out, we can see that the people who cut their hair were going through these extremely hard times. They were miserable. They were poor. They were unlucky. They was down on their luck. They was having all these hard, terrible times, experiencing tremendous losses in their lives. And when this happens to them in their culture, where you get all this long hair from, they cut their hair so they can release themselves from all that negative energy that was stored up in their hair. And at first they used to just cut it and burn it. And they ain't want nothing to do with it because of that negative energy that was stored in it. Because they knew what the hair really is. See, they still know. But then they found out that they could make an economy off of it by using so-called black women's insecurities about their own hair against them and get them to want to look like the so-called white woman. So instead of burning it, because we got this group of insecure people, we done made them insecure with the television. We done made them insecure with social media. We got they children picking the white doll. They don't want the black doll. That's what they do to us. We got them over here and they'll spend their whole check. They will have their hair done before they pay their light bill. This is how important it is. They don't care about nothing but getting their hair done. We got these group of people over here. They'll spend their life, everything, put everything before. Don't burn that hair. Don't burn that bad luck. We got these sisters over here. We got completely fooled. We can sit up here and make an economy off of this. Because that's all they do is make economies off of every single thing they do to destroy us, make us insecure, and everything else. This is their favorite thing to do. So instead of burning it, now they make money off of it and go sell it to the so-called black women who are trying to be everything but who they are. See? So they make it popular to have our women cover up their antenna and put this unlucky hair that's been filled with rage and was meant to be burned and filled with bad times, misfortune, bad luck. They have them put this hair, which is filled with all this negative energy, on top of their own hair and have their bodies absorb this natural energy. And then they wonder why they walk around full of rage all the time. They got these unlucky spirits following them. They taking on all these unlucky spirits that were cut off from the person who was trying to get rid of their misfortune and bad energy that was built up in this hair, and then they done put it on their own head. See? Because they make us insecure about who they are. And then in our effort to be beautiful, because we don't think our hair is beautiful, we can't see it. They know our hair is beautiful, but we can't see it. Then they further harm us by using the energy and the spirits, because they know hair isn't just hair. They take all that negativity and put it on top of you. And they don't just do it. They charge you to do it, and you pay. All they got to do is charge you the most for it. And we associate anything that has a high price with being the best. See, they know they got us under full mind control. And it is the best for the people who's trying to destroy you. It's the only people it's the best for. So we still got some other things to cover. We got a little ways to still go. But we're going to end up making a part 2, like I said, because it's going to take a while to go over the rest of it. And we'll continue this discussion on how they purposely block your prayers and your communication, your natural ways of communication with your true God. And the only ways we're going to really set ourselves free from this mind control that we're under is by finding out who we really are. And the quickest way to do that, because it's not the only way to do it. You can take 15 years and research it for yourself and find out these things for yourself like I did. And it took me 15 years. And maybe, shoot, some of y'all way better than me. You can do it in half the time I can do it, you know. But what I'm saying is that why do that? Why take the stairs when you can take the elevator is what I'm saying. It's not free because I had to take 3 years off of work to do it. So my point is that it ain't expensive. Some of y'all be out at the bar, spend $40 on a drink, on 1 or 2 drinks. This ain't expensive. If y'all want to buy something, you're going to buy it. Get out there and get it, because it's who we are. It's who we are as a people. And we really cannot, I can't explain how important it is for us to know who we are. It's the foundation of who you are. And when they can keep us away from who we are, they can keep us away from our identities, our culture, our religion, our land, our real way of life, everything about us, we end up in a bad situation. You read all 13 chapters of this video book and your life will be completely changed, completely forever changed. And you'll never fall for any more of their tricks ever again. It's not just going to be, it's going to be completely changed. You'll see through all their deceptions, all of their deceptions. You'll be able to learn so much more as a result of seeing through all these deceptions. Your level of advancement is going to skyrocket after that. Okay? So go to lostalongtheway.org and get that video book. It's a small investment, but it's one of the best investments you'll ever get. Share it with your children. Read it, understand it. I got some members who telling me how they're sharing it with their children and how they even going to school and challenging their teachers. They don't know what to say, right? Because they know the truth. These youth, we got to educate ourselves, but we got to have something to educate them with. So when they go into that history class and hear that bull that they getting taught, they know already. Now, look, it's cool. You go to school and learn your math. You can learn your science. You can learn these different things. They're going to make you learn their history. So look, this is a way to combat that. Teach this to your children. Let them know who they are. Okay? That's what this is for. That's what this is for. So go to the website, lostalongtheway.org. Read over some of those blog articles. Support the channel. Like and subscribe the video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, well, then don't like it. But if you liked it, like it. If you haven't already subscribed yet, but you keep coming back for more videos, then just subscribe to the channel. Support the channel. That helps us a lot. All right. So we'll get back to that part 2. It's coming soon. and we'll just take it from there. All right? All right. Peace and love.
This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.